Kaylee Jacobs here. Hi. Kaylee asked on LinkedIn about this. Is it worth it? Should I come? Is it worth it? So one of the main ways people are using social media is to get recommendations. They're asking about your business. They're asking about her business.
I got a lot of good feedback.
Yeah, and people are responding because it's a community, because we all want the same things answered. So people are asking, is it worth it? Social media isn't inherently worth it or not worth it. It's what you put into it. So is it worth it for me to buy a $100 dress for a date? Well, or just to buy a $100 dress. It's only worth it if I wear it and I love myself in it. So it's what I do with it. If I take this social media channel and I use it. So it's the same with this networking event. You come here, is it worth it? It's worth it if you listen and you get something out of it. It's worth it if you network. It's worth it if you talk to the people you wanted to talk to. So I'm sure there are a lot of people in this audience who have not met one another, who are the answer to each other's problems. That's how I use social media. So before I go to an event, I want to know who's going to be there, what do they want to know, what can I help them with, what can they help me with. I may see on the attendee list that half the people are on Twitter. I may check them out there and say, oh my gosh, what your company does is exactly what we do. I'd love to meet you when I get there. So use social media to open up the opportunities that you're in front of every day. You're always in front of amazing people who have amazing companies, and how do you network with them? The social media tools are a way to keep in touch with them. It's a way to get in front of them. I know that a lot of people, for instance, are looking for jobs. People ask me for jobs all the time, and the ones who get them are the ones who reach out to me through social media, who are doing something to brand themselves, to market themselves, and to give value. And so then when I meet them in person, I already have 10 years of history on them. I already understand that we have similar interests. I already understand that they can write well and speak well. I understand that they're involved in certain nonprofits that are really important to them. So to me, is it worth it? It's about using the tool to do what we're all trying to do in different ways. And he unknowingly set me up for something. This is, I guess, a little bit of a personal plug, but one thing that social media is so good at is inspiring people. So if you use it in the right way, I mean, if you're always putting out a marketing message that doesn't differentiate you, you can't answer the question, what makes me different, what makes us different. If you're always just saying, we have a sale, we have this, we have that, people aren't inspired. That's not inspiring, but what do you stand for? That's a powerful message to spread on social media, and it's just what David Crabtree said, same with you. And if you have something that you believe in, that's the story, that's the message, and that's what people care about hearing. So I almost jumped out of my chair when he mentioned St. Baldricks, because that's something that I really believe in, so much so that I am shaving my head on April 7th for St. Baldricks. So standing in front of you as I'm standing in front of you as someone who is really taking that on. Our whole company is taking it on, actually. Last year, every man needed to shave their head for St. Baldricks, and this year when it came up again, Phil Buckley's one of my colleagues. He said, yeah, Stacy and Morgan are going to shave their heads too. And we said, very funny. And you know why my reaction was very funny? Because I thought, that's impossible. Like, that's crazy. I can't do that. And then I heard myself thinking that, why am I living in a world of impossible? Why is it that when that's crazy has to match, therefore I can't do it? No, the way that social media works is it's crazy, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to hell yeah do it. So now we're taking on what's possible, and it's creating this world has opened up to us of what is possible, and we're giving so many people the opportunity to really come to the table. I know what's possible for me and how much I can donate and how much I can give, but now I'm giving other people the opportunity to really step step up to the plate, and so many people, amazing people who I'd never met before but found me through social media, have contacted me and said, this message means so much to me that I want to write a blog about you, do a photo documentary on you, put you on the news, put you in the newspaper, donate, bring my organization on board. So it's just, when you put yourself out there and you create a personality on social media or through whatever network you do it, you are really giving people the opportunity to get to know you and what's important to you and join you. So I wasn't going to talk about St. Baldricks, but it actually is a social media message there, because a lot of the people who have really stepped up to the plate to help us raise money are people that I haven't even met in person. So my whole talk got completely derailed when you said that, but that's what I'm up to these days. So maybe I'll just leave it at that, actually, and then I'd love questions. Okay.
I have a quick statement. When she said that she was with St. Baldricks and she was going to shave her head, you notice that all this was like, there was a gap. She differentiated herself. We all connected with that. Because, you know, it was okay with the guy shaving their head. We kind of look at it, well, we're going to go bald anyway. But when a beautiful woman shaves her long hair, we connect with her. That's a very strong differentiation statement. And that's the, you know, that's the moment when you connect with people. And I don't care what media you use. It's social, it's radio, it's TV. That's the moment when we gasp and we connect with people that you truly differentiate yourselves.
Yeah, I wonder what the big deal is about shaving heads.
Trust me, it's a big deal to me. I'm freaking out.
30 years ago, it would have been one to me.
Yeah, my hair stays this length, and I get it cut every 2 years, so I wish to get crew cut forever, but it's not going to happen. Well, I want to open up the floor to questions for everybody. If you could just stand up, give your name and the name of your company. Yeah, go ahead, Siem, and we'll open up the floor for some questions if anybody has any of the people. You can ask me, and I'll ask the people. Ruth. Oh, come on. Yeah.
My name is Hadley Watson, and I have a question for Morgan. As far as social
We stand up?
As far as social media, how, you talked about differentiating yourself. How do you divide that between yourself and your company? I work for a really small company, so how do I make sure that I put myself out there, because I am in some ways the face of my projects and the company. I also don't want to be too personal on there, but I do like to have my own. Like I have my own Twitter account, I have a work Twitter account. You know, so I kind of feel like I walk a fine line there. So how do you separate the two and make sure that one doesn't cross over into the other to the point where it could be detrimental?
Right. That's a really important question, and one that I hear all the time, and one that I deal with personally. So where do you differentiate between I'm Morgan Siem and I'm Media 2's VP of Social Media? So one thing that David Crabtree touched on is authenticity, and it's all about being, it really is all about being yourself. And I know that every social media person will come up here and say that, but it is. It's being true to yourself, and there's a ton of crossover. For me, there are certain places where I draw the line. I say, Facebook to me is personal. So those are my friends and my family, and that's it. That's personal. But Twitter, to me, is a business tool. LinkedIn is a business tool. So I've set my personal guidelines, and I stick to them. But for the most part, I'm myself in all those places. I let a little more loose on Facebook, but because I trust that audience and I have privacy settings. But when I'm talking on behalf of my company, I'm still Morgan Siem. I'm still Morgan Siem on behalf of Media 2. So there's a very fine line, but a lot of people want to know who you are. If they're going to trust the company, they want to know who's behind it. It's very different depending on if it's a service you're providing or a product. If I'm trying to reach Time Warner Cable with a customer service question, I don't care if I'm talking to Bob or Sue. I just want Time Warner Cable to answer my question. But if I'm talking about who's going to be my, home improvement, for instance. I want to trust the person who I'm working with, who's coming into my home, all these kinds of things. So depending on your industry, you may want to put a lot of your personality behind what you're doing.
To build on that just a second, yesterday I had the privilege of talking to 280 marketing students at North Carolina State University. And one of the things that I've always learned, and it's kind of one of these little paradigm shifts in your brain, is I told them whether they work for a large company, whether they have their own business, whether they're an entrepreneur, is to say, I am Rebecca Antonelli, Inc. I am the CEO of Rebecca Antonelli, Inc. And I made them say it out loud. And that kind of changes the way you perceive yourself and takes yourself more seriously. So maybe that's what you're...
Yeah, one of the things that I frequently speak on, especially to college students, is personal branding. You are your own personal brand. How you put yourself out there online and in person is part of the personal brand you're creating. So every time you leave a comment on a blog and every time that you post something on Facebook, that becomes part of your brand asset. So you really want to be careful about how you want to represent yourself and what information you want out there. I think it's really smart to be personable and put a lot of personality into it, but you do want to be aware that your boss, your clients, your grandmother, whoever may come across it.